again, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us tonight for the Next Steps for Admitted Transfer Students webinar. We are so excited to have you join us, and we also want to congratulate you on being admitted to UC Davis. Let's go ahead to the next slide. So my name is Sheila Zhang, and I am one of the assistant directors for undergraduate admissions and the Transfer Opportunity Program, also known as TOP. I am being joined today by my colleague and friend, Iona, who will be co-presenting with me tonight. Unfortunately, Iona's camera is out, so she won't be on camera, but she's going to be here with us. So I'm going to pass the mic over to Iona so that she can introduce herself.
Hi, everyone. Welcome and congratulations on your admission to UC Davis. We appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedules to learn more about what are the next steps as you're considering your options, and hopefully it's UC Davis. So my name is Iona Nee, and I'm one of the assistant directors that serves the Southern California region. So if you are coming from SoCal, definitely say hi. Hopefully I've had the opportunity to meet with you at any of your transfer fairs. And I also like to highlight, we have one of our wonderful assistant directors that will be supporting behind the scenes, answer your questions in the Q&A. So we'll quickly have Carolina introduce herself as well.
Hi, everybody. Welcome. And I'm glad you all joined us today. My name is Carolina Valero, and I work in the Central Valley as Assistant Director for Undergraduate Admissions and the Recruitment. So glad to have you all tonight.
All right, thank you so much, Gato and Iona. All right, so once again, congratulations on being admitted to UC Davis. We are excited to have you here and to welcome you to the Aggie family. So just congratulations, give yourselves a big round of applause and a pat on the back. You know, you made it, you're here. So just congratulations. We're excited to just celebrate this moment with you. All right. So I know there's a lot of celebrating to do, but there's also a lot of things to check off the list, right? So let's go on to the next slide where we can take a look at the next steps for admitted students. Now that you've been admitted to UC Davis, there are going to be a lot of dates and deadlines and things for you to check off the list before you can actually start in the fall. Many of you have seen your admission decisions through My Admissions. My Admissions is the UC Davis online portal where you can get information about UC Davis. This is where you submit your statement of intent to register, to commit to attend in the fall, and complete other admission and enrollment tasks. So in this next steps checklist here, the first thing that we have for admitted students is you want to submit your statement of intent to register, also known as SIR. If you have already submitted your SIR, great, congratulations. We can't wait to see you in the fall. If you haven't submitted your SIR yet, no worries. You have until June 1st to commit to a campus. So if you haven't yet submitted your SIR, you know, take this time to look at the information, to check out the campus, but make sure that you submit your statement of intent to register, your SIR, along with a deposit by June 1st. The next step after you submit your statement of intent to register or your SIR is that you want to accept your financial aid. You won't be able to accept your financial aid until you submit your SIR. So the SIR is a really important part, or actually, yes, July 1st, not June 1st, or SIR is July 1st. June 1st for high school students, but yes, July 1st for transfer students. All right, so you want to make sure that you also take a look, and once you submit your SIR, you want to make sure that you accept your financial aid awards. You will have an opportunity from My Admissions to click onto My Awards where you can view your personalized financial aid package. This is going to include all of the scholarships, you know, loans, grants that you've been awarded. You can click and choose the ones that you want to accept and the ones that you want to decline for the academic year. Just so you know, your final college cost is directly based on the financial aid that you are eligible to receive. So it's really important that you check out your My Awards to see what's there. And once again, once you submit your SIR and you commit to UC Davis, you can officially accept your financial aid award. Make sure that you are keeping note of the dates and deadlines on your My Admissions to make sure that you get all of the eligible aid that you are able to. All right, and then also once after you submitted your SIR to UC Davis, you also want to think about housing. I know we've received a lot of questions from you regarding on-campus housing, how to apply. We have a few slides later on tonight about, different on-campus housing options, as well as the deadline for housing. And we'll share with you the housing websites and contact information. That way you can get connected with housing should you have any questions for on-campus housing. All right. After you submit your SIR to UC Davis and you have your transcript submitted, you can start your orientation online. It is a 3-part orientation process. So the first part is called Aggie 101. This is where you will learn about resources, different requirements, the UC Davis community. For transfer students, you can access Aggie 101 starting June 8th. The second part to orientation is Aggie advising. I know many of you have questions about, the courses that you're going to be taking once you start in the fall quarter, or, what does your degree to timeline look like based off of your major and what you've completed at your community college. Aggie advising happens over the summer. This is where you will be able to build your fall quarter schedule, meet with your academic advisor, who is then going to help you plan out your fall quarter of classes and answer any questions you might have regarding, your time here at UC Davis and courses and your majors and how that all works. So Aggie advising happens over the summer. Finally, in mid-September, because UC Davis is on the quarter system, we start in September. In mid-September, you'll move into your campus home and complete the in-person orientation part. So if you are planning to live on campus, you will be moving to your campus home in mid-September, as well as complete this in-person orientation portion. All right, lots of information, but you will be getting, emails to remind you about these different steps after you submit your SIR. All right, next slide. So we talked a lot about, My Admissions, the information that is on there. This is what your My Admissions should look like when you log in. There are different links that are located on the page, as well as tabs that you can pick and choose. So you can see that you can print your admission letter. You can see the major that you've been admitted to and for the quarter that you've been admitted to as well. There are important dates and deadlines that you can click on, as well as a course credit summary. So if you want to view your course credit, you can. Please note that your course credit is not final until we receive your official transcripts and verify all your courses and grades, including your spring coursework. So if you do happen to click on view course credit summary, just know that it is not yet final until we receive your official transcripts. Let's see, on the right-hand side here, you'll see the applicant profile. This shows your student ID number, the term of admissions in which you've been admitted for, the major that we admitted you in, your email address, the mailing address that you've reported. This is all your information. If you do need to contact us for any reason, there's a contact us button. And then if you are wanting to review your financial aid information, there is a link down here that will take you to My Awards. All right, next slide. Okay, if you haven't yet submitted your SIR, this is what it looks like. And if you've already submitted your SIR, that's great. Congratulations again, and we're excited to have you join us in the fall. Make sure that you do review your conditions of admission. So, you've been admitted to the campus and for the major that you've indicated, but another really important thing that you want to make sure that you do is you maintain your conditions of admissions. Make sure that you review your conditions of admissions, right? So if you have to complete certain courses or maintain a certain GPA, make sure that you keep note of that. It's really important that you understand and meet your conditions so that your admissions can remain intact. Once again, if you decide that UC Davis is the place for you, we definitely hope that you will accept your offer. When you are ready to say yes to UC Davis, you'll log in and you will click on I accept your offer. If you're still deciding or you're not too sure if you want to commit to UC Davis yet, we do have a link here when you log in to check out, UC Davis and learn more about the campus. If you decide to decline the offer, there is a I decline your offer option here as well if you decide to commit elsewhere. But in this screenshot here, the most important things are, one, make sure you submit your SIR by saying yes to UC Davis and clicking the I accept your offer button and reviewing your conditions of admissions. If you do have any questions or you want to defer your enrollment, there is a frequently asked questions button here that you can pick to see questions that have been asked by students that are frequent questions, and then deferred enrollment if for whatever reason you might have to consider deferred enrollment. There's more information here as well. All right, moving on to more My Admissions information. Okay, so many of you have already submitted your SIR. Thank you so much for submitting your SIR. If you haven't yet, you still have time. So once you submit your SIR, this is how your homepage is going to look. So it's going to be different, right? Once you submit that I accept your offer, it's going to change your My Admissions page. So this is how your page is going to look like. It's going to, have a really big thank you note for submitting your SIR. And then now it's going to show you pre-enrollment tasks. The pre-enrollment task list is a very important checklist, so definitely make sure that you review it carefully to know what specific requirements are being asked of you and, meeting the specific dates and deadlines. We'll have a screenshot in the next slide, but you'll see what that looks like. On the right-hand side here, you will see once again your application profile information. So your UC Davis ID, the term and major that you were admitted for, your email address, and your mailing address. If there are any changes to your coursework at this point, please make sure that you do click on the hyperlink where it says number 2 on this screen here to provide us with an update on your coursework. So for example, if you added classes, if you withdrew from classes, or if there are any changes to your coursework, make sure you click on this link to provide us with this update. All right, next slide. All right, so there's a few ways to navigate this. This is how your pre-enrollment tasks will look like. So in this case, we have a screenshot here. Let's start where it says number 1 first, under Find It Fast. In the Find It Fast section, you will find a variety of helpful links, right? So reporting courses, printing your admissions letter, viewing your course credit summary, if you want to schedule a tour, if you want more information on, financial and scholarships, there are different links that you can click on for more information. And then on the right-hand side here, where it says number 2, this is your pre-enrollment task list, and this is based on your profile. It will vary from student to student. So your pre-enrollment task is going to look different from another student's pre-enrollment task. This is individualized, right? On here, you will see the different dates and deadlines and the tasks that are being asked of you to complete. So for example, in this screenshot here, we have apply, decline for Avenue B offer. This is due by May 7th. And then you also see the status, whether if you've completed this or not. So important things to note, it tells you the task that needs to be completed, the deadline, and then the status. So for example, in this case here, review your financial aid scholarships, you'll see that there is a green check mark because this task has been completed by the deadline. Anything that has been completed will show with this green check mark. Anything that was not completed will have the red icon. And then anything that is still pending, where the deadline has not, approached yet, it's going to have that blue arrow right there. All right, and then once again, your pre-enrollment task will look different from another student. So just know that this is going to be different case by case based on, what it is that you need to complete. All right, next slide. Just more pre-enrollment tasks. So usually in this pre-enrollment task list, you can have anywhere from 15 to 18 pre-enrollment tasks that you need to meet. Some of these tasks are, the statement of legal residence. If you do have this, please note that submitting a statement of legal residence is really important because this determines your tuition fee status. If you have this, make sure you definitely complete it by the deadline. This is also where you will find information for, student housing, official transcripts and how to send them, as well as orientation. So for those of you, I think I saw some questions in the chat regarding orientation. You'll see your orientation steps here, right? So in this, if we're looking at number 2 in the pre-enrollment task here, you'll see orientation step 2, complete Aggie advising. So when you click on this task, it's going to open more information on how to complete this task, as well as like the links and resources needed to complete the task. So once again, the pre-enrollment task list can have anywhere from 15 to 18 tasks. And this is anything from like submitting documents for financial aid, uploading photo for your Aggie card. Your Aggie card is going to be your student ID card. So really important that you are checking your pre-enrollment tasks to make sure that you complete everything that's needed before you start, the fall quarter at UC Davis. All right, and then just one more screenshot on the next slide here. All right, we do have UC Davis principles of communities that we want you to review. By being admitted to UC Davis and enrolling in the fall, you are now going to be part of the UC Davis community and the Aggie family. So here at UC Davis, there are principles of communities that, we uphold and expect of, every single person that's part of the community. We have registered for fall courses, more, steps for orientation, and you also have a tab too for paying fall tuition and fees. So as you can see, this is a very extensive list on the pre-enrollment task. And once again, you need to submit your SIR before you can see your pre-enrollment task. And then follow us too on social media, right? If you're wondering like what's happening on campus, or you want to get more information, or check out, different clubs and organizations, student experiences and voices, definitely follow us on social media. All right, so we went through a lot of information on the My Admissions portal and your pre-enrollment task. Now let's switch gears a little bit and talk about housing. I know there are a lot of questions about housing as well. So for many of you, UC Davis is going to be your home away from home. Many of you are going to be, coming to UC Davis and spending the next 2 or 3 years at UC Davis. We do have guaranteed housing for transfer students, and housing is guaranteed for 2 years for all incoming fall 2024 transfer students, so long as you are meeting the deadlines and qualifications. The deadline to apply for housing is June 4th. We're going to have this information a little bit later for the dates and deadlines for housing too, so stay posted. For housing, we do have gender inclusive accommodations. You'll be able to put this information down on your housing application. And then we also have living learning communities and shared interest communities that you can also be a part of. Living learning communities and shared interest communities are communities within the residential halls that provide an opportunity for students with similar interests or backgrounds to live in the same hall or the same floor. And this really allows, students in these communities to enjoy different activities as well as engage in, social and recreational opportunities. Some examples of our living learning communities include Aggie Explorers, the Rainbow Community, Health Sciences, Engineering. So we've got an extensive list of living learning communities. I'm going to go ahead and drop it in the chat for those of you who want to take a look at the different living, learning communities and shared interest communities that are available at UC Davis. All right, next slide, more on housing. All right, so once again, housing is guaranteed for all incoming fall quarter 2024 transfer students. Transfer students will be offered housing either in on-campus apartments or in the residence halls for the first year. For your second year, if you do plan to live on campus for the second year, transfer students have the opportunity to live in the on-campus apartments or the residential halls the first year, but will not be guaranteed for and will be guaranteed for on-campus housing their second year. So once again, you know, it's a 2-year guarantee if you're planning to live on campus. All right, let's take a look at some of the housing options that are available to you as a transfer student. Okay, so we've got the Green, Orchard Park, and Primero Grove. All right, so new transfer students have the opportunity to live at the Green at the West Village Apartments. These apartments are fully furnished. We'll drop the link for these residential halls and apartments in just a second here, so you can take a look, because if you go to the website, you'll actually be able to find the different layouts that are available for the apartments, as well as more information. Students living in the Green are not required to have a meal plan, but it can be added. We'll take a look at what the meal plans look like in a few slides here. And meal plans can include, you know, meal swipes that can be used at any of our dining commons, the Latitude, and Aggie Cash that can work at any of our campus restaurants, coffee shops, or food trucks. We also know that, you know, we recognize that many of our students may come with families and have different housing needs. If you are a transfer student parent or you have a family, we do have family housing available for students. Many of our students who are looking for family housing are housed in Orchard Park and Primero Grove. There are leasing periods for family housing. So the 2 lease periods happen in August 1st and September 1. We have space so current students can apply and new students can apply once they are accepted. You know, we do recognize that, you know, students with families have unique housing needs, and so Primero Grove and Orchard Park are the on-campus family housing options that are available. We do have on-campus child development centers and child care centers too. So if any of you are looking for, you know, child care centers on campus, UC Davis does boast 5 on-campus child care centers, along with 3 other third-party, you know, child care centers near the campus. All right, next slide. We talked a little bit about meal plans, but here's kind of like a breakdown of, you know, the available meal plans that you can pick from. There are 3 meal plans available to students who live in the Green, Orchard Park, and Primero Grove communities. There's the 5-day meal plan, the 7-day meal plan, and the 9 meals a week plan. You can pick and choose which plan you want, along with, you know, your residential package, but really you can pick the meal plans, and then you also have Aggie Cash as well. Students living at the Green at West Village may choose to add residential meal plans to their housing contract, and the meal plans are used in the dining commons, which are located on campus. There are different dining commons on the campus that, you know, you can use your meal plans at. Signing up for a meal plan is optional, so meal plans are not automatically included in the housing contract for the Green at West Village. So if you are living in the Green, it's optional. You can add it, but it's not automatically included. And then one thing too is residential meal plans include Aggie Cash, which can be used at most dining establishments on campus, including, you know, the restaurants, markets, coffee shops. We do have Pete's coffee shops around campus too, so, you know, you can use your Aggie Cash there. All right, and then last but not least, we have the housing timelines. Feel free to take a picture of this if you need to, but for those of you who are planning to live on campus, you should be able to, you should be receiving a housing email with instructions on how to access your housing portal around 12 hours after submitting your SIR. So if you want to live on campus, submitting your SIR is a really crucial step to making sure that you can get started with the process. It may take up to 24 hours after submitting your SIR before the housing application is available. But the most important thing is you want to make sure you submit your SIR. Your housing portal can also be accessed through the task list in My Admissions portal. After the housing application submission, you will receive your housing status. So if you are offered housing, if you're waitlisted, around 7 days. So that should be popping up once you submit your housing application. All right. So once again, these are the dates and deadlines. May 1 through June 30th. This is your roommate search period. June 4th, this is the transfer deadline for the housing application. June 15th is the cancellation deadline. So for whatever reason, if you decide not to live on campus, June 15th is the cancellation deadline. June 30th is the last day to make any changes to the housing application and roommate groups. And then housing assignments are released in early August for transfer students. All right. So that concludes the housing information. Iona did a really great job of posting links on the chat for housing. So if you want to check out, the options for meals and the residential halls and apartments, please visit the housing website. But with that being said, I'm actually going to pass the mic over to Iona so that she can continue with the rest of the presentation and share information regarding orientation and just lots more with you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Sheila. Hi, everyone. So now we'll dive into what are some of the other next steps that you will experience throughout the enrollment process. We'll also cover some important topics, popular questions that we tend to receive from many incoming transfer students. So Sheila briefly touched up upon the UC Davis orientation experience. So know that this is a 3-step process at UC Davis, and we're really proud of the 3 phases because it really allows you to understand what are the resources, support services available to you. So the step 1 will be Aggie 101, which begins June 5th through July 15th. And again, remember, you're only experiencing this if you've officially committed to UC Davis, where you submit your SIR, your statement of intent to register. So Aggie 101 begins June 5th through July 15th. Note that this is an online experience. These are online modules for you to understand what are the different resources, communities, support services, allows you to really engage. And once you officially complete step 1, Aggie 101, then you can begin step 2, which will be Aggie advising. This opens June 10th, and this allows you to remotely correspond with the Aggie advising team, where you can learn more about registration process, which courses to take based on the credits you received from AP to any college transferable courses. How are you preparing for your major? This is also a great time to ask the Aggie advising team any questions. We know some of you may have questions about adding a minor, changing your major, double majoring, which we actually have slides upon. We'll touch up upon those. But if you have any of those pressing important questions, or even I want to study abroad, how can I fit that in with my few years at UC Davis? This is a great time to ask your questions with your Aggie advising team. That way, once you start registering for your courses for the fall quarter, you already have that all prepared. So once you complete Aggie advising, that opens up June 10th, then you'll receive your registration time. So note that you will have your assigned registration time in your pre-enrollment task list. And this will really vary on certain needs, your major, the college that you're part of. So that will vary by student. So again, you must complete step 1 to continue on to step 2. And once you complete step 2 with your Aggie advisor, that's when you can officially start registering for courses. Note that course registration will happen later in the summer, begins end of July. Typically, most transfer students will have their course registration phase open up in the month of August. And then the last phase of orientation will be in person, which is step 3 that happens after you moved onto the campus housing or off campus right before fall instruction begins. So note that orientation is mandatory, required of all incoming students. And Aggie orientation, yes, you are required to attend in person. And you'll see the dates here, September 17, 18, and 20. This is a wonderful time for you to get acclimated to campus. You meet with your advisors, with other incoming transfer students. You get to see in person those student support services resources that you've learned about throughout steps 1 and 2. You also get to take a tour of campus, engage with the faculty and staff. And with that, we'll talk about other popular topics we tend to receive. So know that UC Davis is on the quarter system, and we know that many of you are coming from a community college or other university that typically tends to be on the semester system. So we'll quickly talk about what are the resources available to you and how can you prepare for the quarter system, because that is a popular topic. Students are wondering, it's pretty quick. How can I be preemptive and really maximize and be successful within my first year at UC Davis? So semester system will be 30 weeks of instruction within the academic school year. The year will be divided into 2 15-week semesters, which will be fall and spring, while the quarter system, which UC Davis is on, is the same with 30 weeks of instruction within the academic school year. However, our academic year is divided into 3 10-week quarters. So the fall, winter, and spring quarters that make up the academic year. Of course, the summer term is considered another quarter. However, the summer term is an optional quarter for students. And we know that with the quarter system, because you have 5 less weeks for your coursework than a semester system, note that you're not expected to take in all that material that a semester course would require. So for example, in your experience, you may have a calculus or physics course within a semester course. However, that's all not going to be condensed into a quarter system course. It'll be spread out. So this will really vary by major and courses, but just know that in your experience, you're like, wow, that's a lot of material. Are you going to really condense that all into one quarter? It will vary, but know that they will be divided into multiple quarters sometimes. Also, our students share that they love the quarter system because sometimes with semester, you're like, when you're about to have your final or midterm and you're like, what did I learn the first or second week of the semester? That was so long ago. Well, a quarter system, our students do appreciate that what they learned within the first few weeks of the term, they actually remember by the 10th week, the final. Also, they love that it goes by quite quickly, where if you're excited to move on to a higher level course or to the next course, it does go by quickly. And I also love to highlight that we have our transfer and reentry center that has programming in place to help you transition from the semester to the quarter system. So we highly recommend that you utilize the transfer and reentry center services to help you achieve success and really maximize your time. And then let's talk about academic standing, because many students, you're here for a few years and you want to ensure that and we know that you're not just a student, right? You may work, you may want to get involved with research, internships, clubs, employment. So let's talk about what it means to be on good academic standing. So there are 2 ways, both qualitative and quantitative. So the first is qualitative. So when you're coming in your first term, you won't have a GPA, right? You're starting at a 0 GPA. And in order to maintain good qualitative academic standing, you must maintain a C average, so a 2.0 minimum GPA or better per overall and per quarter. So that's the qualitative. So again, qualitative stands for scholarship means your GPA, 2.0 GPA or higher. The quantitative academic standing will be the number of units completed per academic year. So the expected progress, and also allows you to graduate within a timely manner, will be 15 units per quarter, totaling to 45 units per year. That's among the 3 quarter terms: fall, winter, spring. While minimum progress to maintain full student academic standing is 12 units per quarter. So that's 36 units per year. So failure to meet either standard may result in academic probation or disqualification. And know that throughout your Aggie orientation, this will be discussed and shared. That way, going in with your first term, you'll be prepared and know what it means to maintain good academic standing. And we also encourage you to really take advantage of any support services and resources such as mentoring, tutoring, because your tuition and fees, that includes all of those resources and support services. So definitely take advantage of that during your time at UC Davis. And we know that many of you have a lot of other obligations, such as employment, family responsibilities. So you may wonder, what if I want to pursue part-time status as a student at UC Davis? So while most students our vast majority are full-time status, meaning at least the 12 units per quarter, you can petition to be considered for part-time status. So part-time status is available under the following circumstances: from employment, so 30 plus hours per week, to health conditions, accommodation for disability, if you have primary care responsibilities, or if you are a graduating senior. And part-time status means that a student can enroll in no more than 10 units per quarter. So just keep that in mind, that part-time status is no more than 10 units per quarter. And also, very important, it will also affect your financial aid if you are part-time status, because again, full-time status is a minimum of 12 units per quarter to receive that financial aid. So just some tips to keep in mind while you're considering these processes. Another popular question we tend to get from incoming transfer students will be, can I change my major? I'm admitted to X major. However, I'm highly considering changing my major. Is it possible to change into my alternate major or another major within the same college, or a major in a completely different college? So the answer is yes, it is possible to change your major at UC Davis. However, there are some notes to be aware of, some requirements. So what are they? Well, first note that you must complete one full quarter at UC Davis, and it must be successful completion. So again, going back to being in good academic standing to pursue this process. Note that this process will require paperwork, petitions, and know that it is not guaranteed. So yes, it definitely is a possibility, but keep in mind that changing your major is not guaranteed. And know that you can discuss change of major options with your major advisor. And this is where I highly encourage you earlier during your Aggie advising over the summer. If this is something you are considering, definitely bring up these questions during your Aggie advising. Also keep in mind, depending what your major is, there are major specific requirements. So over the summer, when you're with your major advisor, definitely ask if you've already completed those major specific requirements, or if those all need to be completed prior to. And lastly, at the bottom bullet point, major changes are granted at the discretion of academic departments and colleges. But we always tell students, it doesn't hurt to ask, right? If it's something you're considering, first successfully complete your first quarter at UC Davis. Then if you are still highly interested, petition to pursue this process. What about double majoring or adding a minor? Another popular question. We know that many of you may have major specific requirements already completed for multiple majors. So similar to changing your major, yes, definitely possible to double major and or add a minor at UC Davis. So let's first talk about double majoring. So similar to changing your major or the request to change your major, you definitely want to speak with your major advisor and academic advisor to discuss what that looks like to add another major, because know that there will be different departments, advisors that will review your requests, especially if it's double majoring within a major in the same college versus a major in a different college. So as you can see here, some signatures and paperwork may be needed and required to submit. And again, similar to changing your major, declarations are granted at the discretion of academic departments and colleges. And then what about adding a minor? So know that there is a similar process where you need to submit a minor declaration form and paperwork, but keep in mind, if you want to have your minor added to your college, your degree, your diploma, when you graduate, you must submit that minor no later than the deadline for applying for graduation. And remember, when you're applying for graduation, that's happening earlier in that academic year. So you want to make sure you submit that form as soon as possible. That was definitely something I ran into when I was adding my minor. The graduation, applying for graduation was coming up soon. I was like, oh no, I have all the courses for my minor and I want to make sure it's on my diploma. So I had to make sure to submit that form ASAP. So just keep in mind of those dates, that there's a lot of moving parts. And also know that to add a minor, it can be more than one, it can be multiple minors. Just make sure you speak with the academic departments and your advisors to ensure that you're meeting the requirements for those respective minors. And now let's talk about other important questions that we receive. So know that to be enrolled at any University of California, we require that all students have health insurance, also known as UC Davis or Student Health Insurance Program, known as SHIP. And you will automatically be enrolled in this health insurance unless you submit a waiver. So even though you have comparable health insurance to what the UC system offers through SHIP, you will be automatically enrolled. And if you have comparable insurance and you're looking to save money, you definitely want to submit that health insurance waiver. In your My Admissions portal, you will see all the important dates and deadlines that will include the deadline for the health insurance waiver. I highly encourage you, again, if you're looking to save costs and you have comparable insurance, submit the waiver. Please, if you have a smartphone, smart tablet, use the open up your camera application and scan the QR code at the bottom of the slide. And it will take you to the health insurance website where you can learn more about what are the waiver criteria and requirements. So you can get a sense of your health insurance, if it will meet what we require, and the process there. Note that if you are going to, since you're automatically enrolled, coverage fees will be charged directly to your student account as well. So again, make sure you submit the health insurance waiver before the deadline, especially if they have follow-up questions for you about your health insurance. That way you can get all that paperwork and submitted prior to the deadline. And although you have the UC SHIP, the health insurance waived, you know that you still have access to services at Student Health and Wellness Center. So although you're not using the UC insurance, definitely do not be shy and utilize the services at the Student Health and Wellness Center on campus. I'd also like to highlight that all new incoming transfer students are required to meet the UC immunization and TB tuberculosis risk screening requirement. So this will populate on your pre-enrollment task list to ensure you have all the immunizations and vaccinations submitted. So that will be all done online. And you can learn more. We'll put a link in the chat for you to learn more about what are those immunization records required prior to you coming onto campus in the fall. And if you have any questions about exemption from these requirements, you can learn more at the website as well. And now let's dive into scholarships. So we know that free is our favorite word in college, right? That's the best four-letter word for college students because we love free stuff. We want free money. So definitely scholarships. There's a lot of money out there. And you don't want to wait too late to apply for scholarships because they're all out there. You just got to submit your application for the scholarships. And here we've created a brief list of scholarships available to you, such as the Cal Aggie Alumni Leadership Scholarship. The link to that is also available in your My Admissions portal under important dates and deadlines. And we'll also have our team working behind the scenes to insert these links in the chat as well. So definitely consider that. The deadline is coming up June 5th. We also have the Transfer and Reentry Center Scholarship. So there's the Crank Start Transfer Scholarship, as well as the Bernard Osher and Crank Start Foundation Reentry Scholarship. The Transfer Reentry Center, we highly encourage you to utilize that during your time at UC Davis. They have wonderful support services, resources to really help you stay engaged, but also share more about things that you may have not learned throughout this enrollment process. That way, when you come on campus in the fall, you can already jumpstart and start running. You're not wondering, not feel like you're falling through the cracks of what's available to you. You already know that. And you're not like, oh, I learned about that my last year at Davis. I wish I learned about it once I enrolled. So definitely check out our Transfer Reentry Center. And then also, of course, our UC Davis Financial Aid office provides a wonderful list of scholarships available to you, from the prestigious to outside scholarships and more. So let's talk about other moving parts throughout this enrollment process. So other important dates and deadlines that Sheila briefly mentioned, such as submitting your final official transcript. So know that when you're admitted with certain conditions of admissions. And this requirement to submit your final official documents is part of your conditions of admissions, meaning if you don't meet these deadlines, you may no longer we may cancel or rescind your admission. So we hate to say that, but we definitely want you to still be at Davis. So definitely make sure you're checking your pre-enrollment task list weekly, if not daily. That way you're staying on top of all these dates and deadlines. So the important one will be submitting all final official transcripts from all institutions that you've attended. Because that will be, if you've attended multiple institutions like so beyond California community colleges, it could be a four-year university or international institutions. The University of California wants all those documents. So please work with all of the institutions that you've attended to ensure that they are sending the final official. So we do not want any pending in progress grades. You want final grades listed on your final official transcripts. So you can send them either electronically or the physical document via mail. So electronically, these are some of our approved electronic transcript vendors that we work with. So definitely speak with the admissions or registrar offices at your respective schools to see if they work or they utilize these electronic vendors. And then you could also send it via mail. Again, July 1st is a postmark deadline, meaning if you're submitting your documents via mail, as long as it's postmark July 1st, you meet the deadline. And here is our address where you would submit those. And if you are choosing to submit them via mail, make sure that your documents are not tampered with, meaning when you request the final official document from your school, they may hand it to you or they may mail it directly. But if they hand it to you, make sure you're not tampering with those official documents, meaning you're opening the envelopes that they're sealed in. And then also, we know that many of you are coming in with college credit from advanced placement, so AP or International Baccalaureate IB exams. If you are, please ensure that you're sending your official test scores by July 15th, and you can do that electronically. And here are how you can arrange for your official AP and IB scores to be sent to our office. You'll see the UC Davis code listed there. So I'll leave this up momentarily for you to review, so feel free to take a photo. I'd also like to highlight that this information is available in your My Admissions portal as well. Now, before we end today's session and hopefully have time to answer your questions, let's do a quick recap. So again, we hope UC Davis is your home for the next couple or few years. So the deadline to submit your statement of intent to register, also known as your SIR, is June 1st. So Sheila showed the screenshot, June 1st, before midnight. You definitely don't wait until 11:45 p.m. or 11:50 p.m. because you will be prompted to make payment, or you may have that deposit deferred. But if you're prompted to make payment, it will take a couple minutes, to input your credit card information and all that jazz. So definitely don't wait. And then once you officially commit or submit your SIR to UC Davis, you will then accept your financial aid offer. Note that if you are offered loans, those loans are optional. It is purely up to you if you want to accept those loans. And then also important, submit your housing application. And you are guaranteed housing as long as you submit it by the deadline. So we encourage you to create your housing application because there are a lot of moving parts with that in terms of your interests, especially if you're interested in living in a living learning community. And then submitting your transcripts and any test scores, again, part of your conditions of admission. So July 1st is the transcript deadline. July 15th will be the test score deadline. And then lastly, you'll begin your orientation again, 3-step process. So once you've submitted your cert and Aggie 101, the online modules open, definitely start on that. That way you can move on to the Aggie advising once that opens up June 10th. And here are those dates and deadlines we've shared multiple times. And again, if you have a smartphone, smart tablet, highly encourage you to open up the CARE application and scan the QR code on the screen there to ensure you're staying connected and on top of all these dates and deadlines. And as I shared earlier, all of this is available in your My Admissions portal under important dates and deadlines, and will also be listed in your pre-enrollment task list. And another reminder, if you still have questions, we hope UC Davis is your home, but we understand that you have so many options. There's a lot of moving parts with this decision. So if you still have questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to our office, speak with our public advisors, with our team. We'd love to answer that. We also have some upcoming webinars for you to learn more too. So if you still have pressing questions, we have upcoming webinars on the next couple of slides. We'll highlight that. But we also want to highlight other ways for you to maximize your time as an undergraduate at UC Davis. So we love to feature our McNair Scholars Program. So this is for our undergraduate students who are interested in obtaining their doctorate, their PhD. And we know that as a transfer student, you really only have a few years, right, to really take advantage and maximize research, internships, employment on campus. So if you're eligible to apply for this program, so if you have at least a 3.0 GPA, and we know that for our incoming transfer students, you're like, well, I don't really have a GPA because I haven't started at Davis officially. They will be able to use your GPA from your community college or from your previous institution. And also, if you're a member of an underrepresented group as listed here, and if you're not a member of an underrepresented group, but you are eligible either being low income or first generation, highly encourage you to apply, because if you're admitted to this program, they will help with paid summer research internships on campus, attending professional research conferences. You'll have a lot of workshops, seminars to engage with faculty and staff that really allow you to propel your undergraduate experience so that when you apply for a PhD, doctorate programs, you can add this to your resume, your experiences. So this is just another way on how we can support our incoming students and really maximize your time at UC Davis, because we know that you really have a few years. So I'll leave this up for a couple more seconds for you to scan the QR code here to learn more. And they have upcoming information sessions next month. And as you can see here, we're happy to highlight that students transferring to UC Davis are strongly encouraged to apply, as about 50% of scholars are accepted each year are transfer students. So again, this is another way we love our transfer students. So we love to support you. Definitely consider the McNair Scholars Program. If you're eligible, apply. If you're not sure about the requirements, what have you, please do not hesitate to reach out to their office and attend their information session. Applications are due June 30th. Congratulations, everyone, on your admission to UC Davis. We appreciate you spending your busy evenings to learn more about the enrollment process with us and the next step. So we hope you choose UC Davis. That's your home for the next few years, and we look forward to seeing you on campus in the fall. But thank you, everyone, and congrats.